The city of Philadelphia is built on grit and toughness, where Rocky is more than just a fictitious character. He helps define the mentality of a city, which makes it the perfect host for this conference's tournament. The CAA defined by those same traits, and they'll be on display tonight in the semifinals. We kick it off with the top seed Delaware and the 4-seed and defending champions Drexel here at the CAA Men's Lacrosse Championship on Lax Sports Network. And with that, we welcome you alongside the PLL All-Star Marcus Holman. I'm Travis Eldridge. Marcus, it's hard to imagine a more wide-open tournament entering these semifinals. Just about any one of these four teams could walk away champions in 2 days on Saturday afternoon and head to the NCAA tournament. I mean, the seedings just don't matter. It's that even.
Yeah, I mean, every team in this conference was, eligible for postseason heading into the final week of the regular season. And I'm expecting 1-goal games across the board today. I'm expecting tough play off the ground. And I'm very excited for this afternoon's matchup.
Well, that's exactly what we got the first time these two teams met. It was a 1-goal game at Drexel, Delaware winning 16-15. As we take a look at our players to watch, let's start with the Dragons. The Offensive Player of the Year in this conference, Jack Mulcahy. He did get injured, did not play in the second half last week. We'll keep an eye with how active he is today, but he is a key piece to this Drexel offense.
Yeah, the Pennsylvania native. He's obviously playing in his home state here for Drexel. He's climbed his way up their career statistical leaderboards. He's now top 20 all-time in points. Had an incredible season, obviously earning him Player of the Year, and he's going to be the main target of the Delaware defense today.
On the other side for Delaware, Ty Kurtz just absolutely went off in the first meeting between these two. Scored 8 goals in the regular season meeting, 9 points in all as he led this Delaware team to a win. He's terrific.
The righty from Ontario, Canada. He's a strong right-handed player. He operates on that righty wing. You see he can shoot it from distance. He's got multiple release points, but he can also get to the rack if he's guarded by a short stick. So obviously if he scored 8 goals in the first game, you know that Drexel's going to be keying in on him today. We'll see what they do to stop number 2 for Delaware.
And the guy that'll be trying to stop Ty Kurtz today is the veteran netminder for Drexel, Ross Blumenthal. Comes in at 12.34 goals against average, 53% save percentage. A guy who was the incumbent coming in, has split time with Drew McGill at times this year. So we'll keep an eye on that netminder position, but had a terrific game last week against UMass despite the loss for Drexel. So he starts once again here today. At the other end, it's Matt Kilkiri in goal for Delaware. As we are just about set to go, skies are clear, the sun is out, 70 degrees plus here in Philadelphia as Delaware wins the opening draw, and we're underway from the CAA Men's Lacrosse Championship. Joe Spears nicely done off the ground, and he gets the offensive possession for the Blue Hens.
Yeah, I think coming in, we talked to Coach Volker about the face-off situation for Drexel. They've really struggled this season, so we'll see what they do to counter Delaware, but obviously the Blue Hens getting the start here. First possession for Delaware.
Starting midfield on Drew Linkaitis, Clay Miller, Mark Beta, the starting middies today. Starting attack unit, J.P. Ward, along with Mike Robinson and the aforementioned Ty Kurtz.
Going into the invert here early, we'll see what Drexel has for a slide package against Delaware.
Linkaitis takes his man behind, now feeds behind. In front, there's Kurtz again. He was red hot the first time these two teams played, and he's got the first goal today.
Ty Kurtz, we mentioned him in the open, the right-handed shooter, finisher, just working his way on the crease there. And that's about as good as a start to an offensive possession you can get from Delaware. Multiple guys getting touches, draw a double team, get the ball through X, and then look inside to the crease and a nice finish.
You mentioned the season high 8 goals in the first meeting. He's a guy, just like just about anybody on this attack unit, who, when he gets going, can score them in bunches. And the second consecutive draw is won by Logan Premtaj, the faceoff man for Delaware, and another possession.
And you mentioned scoring in bunches, right? The first meeting between these two teams, 16-15. So Delaware averaging just over 13 goals a game. Again, that's kind of their benchmark. So we'll see if they can start heating up here.
That was something that Coach Brian Volker mentioned for Drexel was the face-off difficulties. They did figure something out toward the second half of that first meeting. It was one of the reasons they were able to stage that comeback, actually tied that game up at 15 late before Delaware scored with under 10 seconds to go. As that one's turned over, comes back over the midfield line. And that'll be the over and back call on Delaware, gives Drexel the possession.
Better adjustment there on defense by Drexel, just being a little bit tougher on ball and getting a bottom hand slap there to force that turnover and errant pass.
Starting midfield on for Drexel, Casey Waller, Jack Mulcahy, and Ryan Genord. This is Waller. It's Sean Donnelly, Aiden Call, and Max Semple starting at attack once again today. Here's Semple, sends it behind Donnelly. Rolls, or excuse me, that's Mulcahy. Tell you what, his tiptoeing the crease looked pretty healthy to me.
Glad to see him out there. Obviously, you know, as fans and spectators of the sport, we want to see the best players on each team play, so glad to see Mulcahy out there and healthy, moving around good.
Call feeds, that one off the side of the cage from Genord. I think even Kilkiri thought that may have gone in.
And we have our first mom goal there. You heard the stands. You heard the crowd.
Give the fans some credit, though. When the goalie turns around and he thinks it's in the back of the net, that's a tough one.
Yeah.
This is Cam Accioni who brings it in. Sophomore out of the Hill Academy in Ontario. Part of the second midfield unit, along with his brother Matt Accioni. Good to see him back healthy. He played his first game last week of the season and suffered an ACL injury this summer, playing summer box north of the border for the Toronto Beaches. Said there was a possibility he could have redshirted this year, but wanted to stay with his twin brother Cam, and so he opted to come back, try to play here down the stretch for Delaware.
That's awesome. Pretty cool story, and props to the brothers there.
And then JP Ward going to work. The sophomore out of Owings Mills, Maryland, makes it 2-0 Hens.
JP Ward rocking number 1. I always say, if you're going to wear number 1, you better be ready for some attention from other defenses. And Ward kind of looking like Logan Wisnauskas here a little bit from Maryland, just kind of barreling his way to that island and hitting that kind of fadeaway lefty shot to the far and away corner. That's a really nice take.
JP Ward, a breakout season this year. That's his 30th goal of the year. Played just 11 games last year, 2 goals, 4 assists. So what a jump from freshman to sophomore year for JP Ward, filling in that role that was inhabited by Charlie Kitchen, who of course has moved on. Here's good news for Drexel. They get a face-off win. Liam Rosado's been the main face-off guy for the Dragons here in the latter stages of the season, but they've used a whole bunch of different guys trying to figure out that position this year.
Yeah, and it looks like Delaware hopping into a little bit of a zone here. You'll see the short sticks on the crease in that top left wing area, so we'll see what Drexel has to counter that. Looking for maybe a lefty shooter to step in.
This is Call. Bounces it for Donnelly as it poked free for his second. But collected by Call. Still 26 seconds in the shot clock for Drexel. Skip pass down low. Mulcahy off something. Did that get to the cage? I don't think it did.
I think that was maybe right off a shin or an ankle of a close defenseman, and those are the ones you live for.
That was your big bounce.
Goalie will buy you dinner after.
For sure. Shot wide. 5 seconds left on the shot clock for Drexel. Tough spot for the Dragons. Have it all the way back in the corner here on the near side. See what Donnelly opts to do. And they'll send it in front, actually. That can sometimes be dangerous. That ball comes out here by midfield.
Normally, kind of the protocol with those low shot clock situations is you want to make those feeds east-west, which Drexel kind of did there. I think they had already subbed off their midfielders, so they were kind of free to play, but it's cool to see them at least taking a chance, just try and play 3-on-6, throw one inside. You never know what could happen. You could draw a foul. So I'd rather be advantageous there if you sub your guys on than just kind of throwing the ball into the corner.
You never know. We've seen crazy things happen in the sport.
You're exactly right.
So Drexel with the 2-goal advantage back on offense. Beta. Robinson rolling across GLE, shoots just wide.
Robinson, will keep an eye out for him too. Just an incredible lefty shooter. One of the best goal scorers in all of Division I lacrosse.
41 goals this year. That leads the team. He's one of the top goal scorers per game in all of college lacrosse last year.
Yeah. Averaging a hat trick in college lacrosse. What's that? That's probably like averaging 30 in the NBA.
Yeah,
Similar.
something like that. I mean, that's just unbelievable.
Yeah.
Down to 15 on the shot clock. Kurtz has one already. Trying to body his way in. Kurtz shoots wide.
Tough dodging there, but a couple good looks at the cage for Delaware, but not able to finish.
Beta will just send it to the corner. So back-to-back shot clock violations.
And there's kind of like the I guess the counter act to kind of what we were just talking about there, Travis. Like if you're gonna sub all your middies off, like I said, maybe just throw one inside. You get a funky bounce and you could get a look at the goal. But Delaware elects to play it safe, and Drexel clears easily.
No, they unforced error here in the middle of the field. They throw it away. That's something that absolutely killed them last Friday night against UMass in the second half. UMass just had a heavy possession advantage between faceoffs and then the turnovers that Drexel was throwing away. Some of them were caused, some of them unforced errors in the middle of the field gave UMass a whole bunch of extra possessions.
And Coach Volker mentioned he doesn't have any more hair on his head, but it would be gray if he did because of those failed clears. Those are the ones that just are tough to watch from the sideline as a head coach.
They already pulled them all out. And Mike Robinson from distance. We mentioned his scoring ability. He does it again, and it's a 3-goal advantage for the Blue Hens here early. Brings us to our first time out on the field. Mike Robinson leading the Blue Hens in goals this season. Well, he's got one of the first 3 today. 3-0 Delaware in the first semifinal here in Philadelphia.
The CAA Men's Lacrosse Championship is brought to you by UNCW's Cameron School of Business. Visit uncw.edu/CSB today.
Back here in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Travis Eldridge and Marcus Holman back with you here at the CAA Men's Lacrosse Championships on LSN. And it's the top seed Delaware Blue Hens with an early 3-0 advantage. They've had an advantage here at the faceoff X so far as well, Marcus, is the possessions. You give this Delaware team a lot of extra possessions, they're going to make you pay.
Yeah, and those types of plays right there, which I think was Drexel stepping out of the box, like those are the type of ground balls that you need to come up with if you're going to be losing those clamps. So every clear becomes more important. Every 50-50 ground ball becomes more important. There are ways to counteract it, but you got to make those detailed plays. And a nice ride back there by Drexel.
That was Owen Grant, the conference's Defensive Player of the Year. He's been terrific this year, but he turns it over. So a chance for Drexel to clear here. And they do. Sean Quinn, their own terrific defenseman, brings it into the box.
And Travis, I got to give a quick shout out to the Utah Utes. An overtime win just moments ago over Bellarmine in the semifinals of the ASUN Conference. Huge win for Utah.
As Waller rings one off of Kilkiri. Lots of conference semifinal action going on today across the country. That conference, the ASUN, very similar to the CAA in terms of it feels like it could be wide open.
Yeah, we've had 1-goal games as well in the NEC with St. Joe's and LIU. So, again, it's shaping up. I think there's like 15 to 20 games today. It's just an awesome day to be a lacrosse fan if you're tuned in.
Oh, for sure. One of the best days of the year in college lacrosse. something on the line for all these teams. Everybody's still eligible for the NCAA tournament if you're playing in one of these semifinals. You win 2 games in 3 days, you're headed to the postseason.
Yep, that's right. And I mean, this is what you work for. You step on campus in late August or early September, and you grind in the weight room and Christmas breaks and holidays to put yourself in a position to win right now. And that's what we're seeing with 2 tough teams in the CAA right here.
Here's Robinson going to work, something that Delaware was hoping to do last year. Was upset in the CAA semifinal a year ago by Hofstra. They were a team that was hanging around the top 20 for a good portion of last year, expected to compete against whoever they were going to possibly match up in the NCAA tournament. But they got upset in the semis, and just like that, the season can come to an end, so you got to be ready to play. J.P. Ward quickly on the restart. Shot clock winding down. 1 second left. And that's when there's really no time to do anything when you have it on the end line.
Exactly. And just going back to Delaware, Travis, kudos to Coach Ben DeLuca for kind of revamping this Delaware program, in his 6th year. You mentioned they were kind of in the driver's seat last year going into the conference tournament, losing in the semis. You'd think that these guys are hungry to come back and take the outright championship and get to the NCAA tournament. I'm sure that was probably the message from some of the older guys or seniors on the team.
Yeah, this team's been playing backs against the wall for the last couple of weeks. They lost their first 2 games in conference. We're 0-2 in CAA play. And you lose 3, and then you're right there you're almost out. And so They've been playing backs against the wall the last couple of weeks of the season. They've won 3 in a row coming in and find their way to the top seed in the conference tournament.
Yeah, every single one of their conference games by 1 goal, except for last week's game with Fairfield, which was a 2-goal game. So, the heartthrob Blue Hens, I guess that's what they might be calling them.
Yeah, living on the edge.
Yeah.
Got 15 seconds left for Mulcahy. Kicks out to Waller. Down to 10 on the shot clock. Skip pass to nobody in particular. And we got a flag down. It's going to stay here. That was a late flag.
Yeah.
They're going to get Owen Grant.
Interference. I think it might have been a late check down on a stick. It looked like after the ball had passed by, maybe Grant just kind of checked down on a guy's stick, which that's interference. You're not allowed to do that if the ball is not kind of in the area of that offensive player. So maybe a little bit. I like the way that Delaware is being aggressive on defense right now, but again, a little bit too aggressive, and now you put Drexel in a man-up situation.
33% on the season on the man-up for the Dragons. That pass, tough one to handle. Nicely done by Janor. Gets the shot off. It's wide. Still 15 seconds left to operate on the extra man. This is Donnelly. Has it back toward the top. Step down shot is wide. A couple of good looks for Drexel. They just haven't yet put him on cage.
Yep. Just kind of need that first one to fall. Keep shooting.
Tough angle for Donnelly. Rebound. Mulcahy has it checked away. We're back to even strength.
Now you probably have a matchup here after a substitution. See if you can find it. Take advantage of it.
Takedown on that far side by Aiden Fritz. Ball is loose, and it's Jason Sider who comes up with it. Good defensive stand. That's Harrison Ewing. And we got another flag down. It's Delaware that's going to go man up.
Maybe a little bit of a frustration foul there. Not sure. It looked like they might have caught a slash, but now I'm seeing that Drexel's offsides because they have 7 guys in this defensive end. So might have been an offsides kind of outside the picture.
Well, if you're going to go offsides, you might as well keep the extra defender on, make sure they don't score. So it's 6-on-7 right now for Delaware.
And oddly enough, Travis, these are kind of weird situations that you don't really practice defensively, and it could throw guys off, having that extra guy. You think it'd be counterintuitive. You think it'd be really hard to score against because you have an extra guy, but sometimes these attackmen that run over the midfield line don't really know what they're doing on defense.
You got Jack Farrell, the LSM, who's just playing free safety there in the middle, as everybody else is matched up. Farrell comes over to help.
Nice job.
And they get the touch up here for the penalty. So after we got our first Blue Hens flag of the day, we get our first from the Dragons.
Yeah, and just a little snapshot there of just momentum plays in lacrosse, right? Drexel, you're down 3-0, you go man up, you get a couple shots blocked, and then you're running back in the hole and you go off sides. Now, you've taken an opportunity to gain some momentum, and now you're kind of putting your defense in a tough spot here. They really need a stop.
32nd man up for Delaware. 10th best man up unit in the country during the regular season. 45, almost 46% on the extra man.
Yeah, a lot of movement. They'll end up in a 3-3.
Nice save by Blumenthal. Great maneuver. Here comes Drexel. Donnelly's got to be careful of Spears coming on the field.
Jeez, holy cow.
Donnelly flips it, gets out of the way. Stansfield, trailed by Spears again. Joe Spears is everywhere. Second team all-conference performer with the long stick. As he kicks out, Donnelly wide. Backup is there for Drexel, and we're back to even strength. So this one playing out very similar to the first meeting. Delaware also went up 3-0 the first time these two teams met. Drexel would respond. It was 6-3 in that one after the first quarter. So we had even more goals early on in the first meeting between these two.
Yeah, this has been low scoring compared to our last couple games as well, Travis. So good to see the defense and the goalies making some saves.
Kilkiri with this stop, ball loose in front. And it's scooped up by Delaware. Reed Kurtz actually put a short stick in Reed Kurtz's hands. He's been a starting close defenseman for a good portion of this year, but they give him a short stick here today.
Yeah, Kurtz is a Canadian as well. You'll see the heavy Canadian influence, I think, on both of these teams. Both coaches not afraid to recruit north of the border. And obviously those Canadians grow up playing with all short sticks. So I'm sure for Kurtz, it's not too big of a transition.
12 seconds left. Saved by Blumenthal. Down to 10 in the quarter. See if Drexel can go quickly. Got to send it. All the way in front. One-hand shot blocked in front. And so Delaware pitches a shutout here in the opening 15 minutes. Blue Hens had it clicking offensively early. And the top seed here in this CAA Men's Lacrosse Championship off to a good start. Good individual effort, some good sharing of the ball as well. It's Mike Robinson from distance. Blue Hens up by 3 after 1. A lot for the Blue Hens fans who made that quick trip from Newark, Delaware to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania to be happy about the Delaware Blue Hens with a 3-0 lead after 1 here in the first CAA semifinal of the night here in Philadelphia. Delaware a chance for that faceoff to start the second quarter, but Farrell, the long pole, just read that like a defensive back and picked it off. As Waller gives off for Mulcahy.
And those are like the little plays you need from your wings. I'm sure Drexel's been working on that all year. If you're going to lose the clamps, your wings have to be engaged, your poles, your shorties. You have to kind of have a three-man plan up there.
Yeah, it's a unit.
Yeah, and it's even a full field event. The attack has to be involved, the close defense, if any loose balls kind of, pop out that way.
Let's see if the offense can produce something for the first time today. Here's Mulcahy. Offensive Player of the Year here in the CAA. Draws the slide. Yep. Pass deflected on its way to Waller. And that defense just hounding Drexel. Delaware takes it away.
And I don't know if he'll show up in the stat sheet, but Owen Grant, stick in the lane on the 2 slide, he's able to deflect that pass. I think from our vantage point, if that pass gets through, Drexel has a 10-yard step down for a hands-free shot. But, you know, that's what players do. They make those kind of invisible plays. I'm sure to the coaching staff it's not going to be invisible when they watch film, but really nice work there.
Yeah, Owen Grant. He makes both plays. He makes the plays that you see in the stat sheet, the ones you don't. Pass down low, wow. And it's Robinson again. When he gets that left hand free, it's almost unstoppable. His second of the day.
I think something we're seeing just across the board in college lacrosse, these offenses really just clicking this time of the year. You can see there, you know, that looked like a set play almost that Delaware had. I think they're just setting a pick up top in the sub game. And, you know, I think defensively for Drexel, you just got to have your hands on Robinson. He's one of the best shooters in the country. You can't give him those hands-free shots from 8 yards. He's going to crush you.
That was a face-off win for Premtaj. Then it came loose, and now it's Spears, the long pole, who collects, and Delaware gets a possession. This is when this Blue Hens team is just so dangerous.
Yeah. I was going to mention Spears, too. Just we recruited him out at Utah. He's from Illinois. Just runs really well, lefty. You always love a lefty defender to kind of just shake things up, whether he's an LSM or a close guy.
Sent behind by Linkaitis. Pass deflected, but somehow Ward keeps it, and now the navy blue jerseys collapse in. Blumenthal with the outlet. Here comes Sean Quinn. The defenseman a chance to run. Long pull shot is wide.
Nice hustle from Delaware getting in the hole. I like the ambitious take there from Drexel. You know, try to make something happen. You know, they call those possession shots, Travis. It's either hopefully a goal or you miss the cage and you're able to retain possession. Looks like we might have a foul.
Yeah, I think there's a flag down. Let's get the call from our official. You got to talk things over first. One minute unnecessary roughness on Kevin Lynch, the senior from Eldersburg, Maryland. The transfer from Division II Queens University in Charlotte. Helped that team go to the Division II tournament, so he's got experience at this level as he joins this Delaware program. They're now man down. Genord. Way off on that shot. Second man up so far for Drexel. Skip pass down low, and they finally get one. Great look to Zach Augustine, and the Dragons are on the board.
Fantastic skip pass there. Right, skip passes crush man down units. I think that's number 8, Sean Donnelly, up top center, and just little box fake to the wing. Get that low corner defenseman to rotate up and then, you know, zing one in there. I think people don't realize how high level of a pass that is. And I also, you know, that ball is moving close to 70, probably 80 miles an hour. That's almost like a shot to some high school player. So a great handle inside and finish for Drexel.
It's huge for Drexel to get Sean Donnelly going. When he's at his best, he can quarterback this offense like some of the best ex-attackmen you see. He's had some huge games throughout his 2 years with Drexel as a transfer from Syracuse out of the IMG Academy. But he's been kind of up and down throughout this year. Was held without a point in that loss to UMass last week. And even in talking to Drexel coach Brian Volker, he said, you know, I think if you ask Sean, he would say he's only had a kind of okay season. So maybe try to figure out a little bit of a sophomore slump for Sean Donnelly here in his second year with the Dragons.
Yep.
I mean, Marcus, it has to be, you have so much success the first year you step on campus. It's like, oh, this is easy. And then things aren't always that easy.
Yeah. I mean, it's the traditional sophomore slump, right? Like, defenses know who you are. You're no longer the new kid on the block. And, there's a freshman class that's maybe coming behind you. Speaking on personal experience, I got moved to midfield after my freshman year. I was ACC freshman of the year and had to change positions, so things change, and you just got to adapt, adjust, and continue to work hard like Sean has.
Another tough turnover for Drexel. Ball back in the hole here. Still 3 seconds to get it over the midfield line, and Delaware just does. Kyle Kavinsky brings it in. Part of the second midfield unit for the Hens. Along with the Accioni twins.
Yep.
25 and 45. Cam and Matt. Down low, Kurtz. Better job there by Drexel on him. Now Kavinsky down the far side alley, shoots wide.
And you see, Delaware on offense, I think just doing a really nice job of keeping their space. Right, as an offensive player, you want to create space. You want to make those slides longer for Drexel, and you want to make those 2 slides longer as well. So,
Accioni sends it behind. Ward, who's had a terrific season for the Blue Hens. Gets a goal line extension, feeds Accioni in the middle, and Blumenthal with the stop. Kavinsky reached in there, tried to take it away from Blumenthal, and that's what whistled it dead.
Nice stop on defense there by Drexel. Looks like Blumenthal's kind of settling in a little bit. As you can hear the voices from the sideline booming, specifically Tucker Durkin, defensive coordinator and Team USA, PLL All-Star for the Drexel defense.
I think we're going to get another penalty.
Yeah. I think maybe an interference on the goalie, so just a free clear.
Yeah. Yeah, you're
we're going to stay all even. Yep. And it looks like Drexel's been bringing Mulcahy out of the box. Maybe try to get him matched up on a short stick.
Chinord. Semple. Top 6 for Drexel, been pretty quiet so far today. Augustine, part of that second midfield, the only goal today. Donnelly taking Joe Spears' best shot, gets a shot off of his own and just high. Aiden Call there for the backup. He looks to battle the short stick matchup. Now Chinord. I'll make Jack Mulcahy bring this all the way back to the corner. Marcus, the shots that Drexel have gotten, they haven't been bad. They just haven't been able to get them on frame.
Yeah. And I think that's a credit to Delaware. And again, you got to settle in and maybe take an extra step or two to get to the middle of the field.
That's what Chinord tried to do there. He had his stick deflected.
Just got to keep that stick right in front of your helmet, your face mask. Thought he just hung it out a little bit too early, and Delaware able to cause the turnover.
So back to Delaware's end, nearing the midway point of the second quarter. Delaware with the 3-0 lead after one. Each team with a goal apiece to start this second. Winner will take on the winner of Towson and UMass. That's the second semifinal. Once again, here in Philadelphia, coming up 7 p.m. Eastern time here on LSN. Beta, top of the box, and a laser!
Count it!
Mike Robinson! What a way to finish off a first half hat trick. There is absolutely nobody stopping this. Robinson sniping corners from the top of the box. Out there by 2-point range. It's 5-1 Delaware. Back in beautiful Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, where Delaware is making it feel like home for the Blue Hens faithful. They have a 5-1 lead here in the first half of this first CAA men's lacrosse semifinal here on LSN. The first of two semifinals here in Philadelphia today. Keep the fluids moving here, Marcus. Temperatures in the 70s. We're not used to this.
Beautiful night in Philly. Looks like there's going to be rain in the forecast for the rest of the weekend. So glad we're starting early on Thursday.
Yeah.
And, we've got a nice night of beautiful weather, and the kids are getting after it.
This is the weather college lacrosse is meant to be played in. As Delaware has been enjoying it a little bit more than the Drexel team, as Liam Rosado goes early on that faceoff. You can see him; he was leaning and just couldn't hold up.
Yeah, and, during the break,
look out!
Hear,
and Grant, the defensive player of the year in the conference, his 6th goal, and it's 6-1 Blue Hens.
Yeah, he was a guy, Travis, we brought him up making the invisible plays on the defensive end. Well, this is a very visible play on the offensive end, just comes right down. You see that overhand release. And again, shooting low and away from where the goalie's stick is. Just an incredible shot placement here. Goalie had no shot.
He's now doubled his goal total from last year when he had 3 goals and an assist to go along with everything he did defensively. 2nd straight year that he was the defensive player of the year here in the CAA, which I think tells you a lot about his game, because you got a conference that also has Kobe Smith from Towson, who's been a guy who's been an All-American candidate too.
Exactly, yeah, and listen, I mean, the game has evolved, the position has evolved a little bit, right? As an LSM, you're not only expected to cover the best midfielder, but you're expected to score in transition and get, 10 to 12 points in a season. So Grant's certainly showing why he's one of the best in the conference and maybe in the country as well.
So that was interesting. They ruled that Delaware had gotten the possession, and then they failed to get it over midfield because the clock started. I don't know if they wanted the clock to start yet, but they had ruled that Delaware had initially gotten the possession, then it got poked free, and so it was a failure to get it across midfield there for the Blue Hens.
Yeah, and while I'm talking about Owen Grant, Drexel has a really good opportunity to, take a 5-6 yard shot, and again, they missed the cage, so see if they can dial in their shooting, and there's a nice save.
Kilkiri with the stop. See what the Blue Hens do in transition. And they'll settle it down.
Timeout.
And we'll take a timeout as Delaware wants to talk things over. Up by 5 with 6:32 to go in this first half. You talk about Matt Kilkiri. We spoke about Ross Blumenthal and how he's had an up and down year. Kilkiri very similar, the goalie for the Blue Hens. Guy who was the starter all of last year, had a terrific season. And then come in this year, you got Paul Reed, the freshman who came in. He was, Paul Reedy, the freshman comes in, highly regarded, competitive. Ben DeLuca and this coaching staff for Delaware said, you know what, we want to have a competitive practice. We're going to keep it open. And Paul Reedy stole a couple of starts away from Matt Kilkiri, including in the big upset over Johns Hopkins earlier this season in the non-conference. But here down the stretch, it's been Kilkiri who has earned that job. And so far today, he's got 3 saves, only 1 goal against. He's been solid.
Yeah, and I think, that kind of a couple things lends itself to the discussion about Coach DeLuca and kind of his coaching philosophy, right? I mean, coming into Delaware, he's sparked this program. He feels that they can be at the top of the CAA year in and year out. And I think that starts with competitiveness, right? If everything's guaranteed and, you're going to guarantee a guy a starting spot, then, he's bound to kind of lose his momentum and that desire to be the best. So, an open competition for the goalie spot is tough. It's challenging. I think it brings out the best usually in both players. And, Kudos to Kilkeary here for, stepping up in this game specifically, but just down the stretch and earning that starting spot back.
Kilkeary with a career-high 19 saves in the must-have win for Delaware last week against Fairfield. And he's off to a good start here today as the Blue Hens have possession coming out of the timeout. It's Drew Linkaitis, the midfielder, who inverts.
Yeah, and they've been pretty comfortable in the invert Delaware has, specifically Linkaitis initiating for them. So now they've got a switch on somebody. We'll see if they take advantage of that.
Ty Kurtz looked like he may have been getting shut off by the short stick George Grippo. But now he's got a short stick matchup. You got to slide quick. They bring another short stick. It was head-butted. Udovich came over and he couldn't get his stick up, so he just headed it out of there. Yeah. Looks like soccer. Ward was 17 on the shot clock. Question mark, jump shot. Wide, feed in front, a stop by Blumenthal. It was
nice save.
Great quick look into Miller inside, but Blumenthal standing tall.
Yeah, it looks like Delaware caught the shot from behind the net. I'm not quite sure who that was, but usually when you catch those shots behind the net, you look inside to the crease immediately. They did that, but Blumenthal able to shut the door with a nice save on the inside.
Maybe some momentum for Drexel. Remember, they trailed by 5 multiple times in that first meeting between these two this year. Still found a way to claw back and tie it up eventually at 15.
Yeah, I think defensively they've kind of settled in. I mean, they've done a nice job. They're being a little bit more aggressive, and there you go. Offensively, finally get one going. We'll see if they can kind of capitalize for this final 5 minutes of the second quarter.
Sometimes you just need one to go. That's what Genord gets to fall, his 27th of the year. The senior out of Michigan, finding some space inside the corner.
Yeah, and I think, against the zone defense like Delaware's playing, like those shots are going to be available. It's just a matter of, putting them in a good spot. And you see, you're able to shoot off hip. Again, I'll say it again because I've said it before, but shoot the furthest place away from the goalie's stick, and that's the off hip location, and a great take there.
Face-off win for Delaware. Now this is a Drexel team that kind of backed their way into the CAA tournament. They lost last week against UMass, a game where the winner knew they were in to the tournament. The loser knew they were going to have to wait and see what happened on Saturday. Well, things worked out on Saturday as Delaware beating Fairfield actually got Drexel in. So they were very big Blue Hens fans last weekend, and now not so much of the offense they're seeing.
Yeah. Coach Vocal on his call this week said house money. I'd like to see them play with a little bit more of that looseness and swag.
My goodness. Michael Robinson.
Can't have swagger when you're trying to cover Mike Robinson with a shorty.
I mean, come on. This thing on the run, full head of steam, snipes it again for his 4th.
Travis, I'll give you the trivia question. Where is the shot located on the goalie?
Off stick.
Off hit, baby. It's bread and butter. Really nice take. Robinson's kind of starting to feel it. He's heating up a little bit.
He's a guy who, at one point last year, scored 9 goals in a game versus St. Joe's. So not somebody you want to get hot because it doesn't normally cool off when he gets it going.
If 3 goals is a hat trick, what's 9?
Well, we got a sock trick at 6.
Yeah.
I don't know if they've defined a 9. I know you have a junior. That would be 10 from your Major League Lacrosse days.
Yeah.
The Ohio Machine.
Maybe like a turtleneck trick.
We got to find out 9. We'll have to go to our NLL insiders to figure out what 9 goals in a game is. As it is, Drexel could use a goal here. Just got one, and it was answered by Mike Robinson again. Here's Genord, just had one. Underhand shot, saved by Kilkeary. Rebound just time for Cole.
Delaware back into some man-to-man here. I like that dodge from Genord, just able to beat his guy, get to the middle of the field.
Cole to Mulcahy. Lost it before he got the shot off. Ground ball by Reed Kurtz. Look at him spinning out of traffic. Owen Grant loses it over the sideline.
Yep, those and good hustle on the ride by Mulcahy. You know, again, just kind of shows you the heart of him, right? He's the offensive player of the year in the conference, but you know, it's the heart and the hustle and those little plays that are going to get your team going.
Donnelly has it saved by Kilkeary. Resets
Love the
shot
dive out.
clock. Yeah.
Love the dive out. Great effort.
Drexel wants to talk things over with 2:46 to go in this first half. And that last ride, you could tell Drexel fans trying to get this team going a bit.
Yeah. Yeah, man, you got the home field advantage. Or again, you know, coach even said it, playing with house money. You know, you're like hardly expected to be here. Just play with that kind of looseness and enjoy it and have some fun. Obviously easier said than done from the home broadcast booth, but this will be a big one if they're able to score here out of the timeout, maybe win a face-off, and if they can cut this lead to 7-4, or maybe even 7-5 before halftime, give you some momentum going into the second half.
Yeah, very different situation than what Drexel had going on last year here at the CAA tournament when they were riding a 7-game win streak, ended up winning 9 in a row on their way to their first CAA championship since 2014. They then went out to Denver and tested Notre Dame in the first round. Ended up being a 10-8 loss to the Irish. It was a tie game in the fourth quarter. Notre Dame got an extra one late after they had made it 9-8 to give them a 2-goal win. But that Drexel team gave Notre Dame all they could handle, and they brought a lot back from that team. That's why some parts of this year have been so head-scratching.
Yeah, a little bit surprising in that regard, and I do remember that playoff game. That was one of the most physical lacrosse games I've seen, and I think a penalty late in the fourth quarter. I think Drexel fans at home probably know what I'm talking about, but again, just, you know, your back's kind of up against the wall here. We'll see what they kind of get into out of the timeout. Obviously, you've got to adjust to what the defense is running. Delaware's kind of been back and forth in between man and zone. I think Delaware's zone actually has been better for them than the man-to-man, but we'll see kind of how they play this coming out of the timeout.
We mentioned Tucker Durkin, the defensive coordinator for Drexel, also a terrific offensive mind on the assistant coaching front, and Stephen Boyle for the Dragons. See what he and this team can draw up coming out of the timeout.
Yep, an incredible career as a player at Hopkins. Grew up watching him, kind of facilitated X.
I don't know if that's what he drew up, but Luke Stansfield gets him one. Just his third of the year, third of the game. It's a 4-goal game.
Yeah, and I think, you know, maybe what they spoke about at the timeout was trying to get some more dodging on this left wing, because that's where the other short stick for Delaware is playing. So you're kind of able to isolate a little bit here, and Delaware just laid on the slide. See that Canadian release. Just snappy overhand, tough for the goalie to read.
Stansfield maybe picking that up from all the Canadians he's played with here at Drexel, the Philadelphia native.
Yeah. Would have fooled me.
And who went early here?
Blue is leaning.
They get it on Mike Lenskold, who's been one of the other primary face-off guys for Drexel they've used. It's been Rosado or Lenskold for the most part here in the latter stages of the season. He goes early. That's violation number 2, so one more here, and then you got to start to be worried.
Yeah, and you know, face-offs are, again, the way I look at it is just go 50%, right? If you can go 50%, then it becomes an even ball game, and you know, we have to get as many stops as they do. But those are like kind of the momentum face-offs where you're like, damn, I really wish we could we could get a win there to get the ball back for our offense and try to score 2 in a row to get some momentum.
Instead, it's Delaware with it. Kurtz sends it back out to Linkaitis. They are all up in Robinson's grill up there at the top of the box. Loose ball, backhand. Kurtz keeps it away. Now Ward still with 24 on the shot clock. J.P. Ward will take it to the corner. He's got that top cover man and Sean Quinn on him. Ward gets the hands free in the middle, dodges, comes all the way across and scores. The one-man show for number 1.
Holy moly. Taking the scenic route around Philly. Just usually defensively, you've got to help from the top down there, but Ward able to just continue his cradle. And I think when you're in a threatening spot like that and you're able to kind of just freeze and hold, it gets the goalie out of position, and Ward able to finish to that far pipe again.
Yeah, you mentioned the scenic route. I think he jumped on Kelly Drive here in Philadelphia, took a left, went and saw the Schuylkill River, and then he came back and scored.
And a subtle thing there on that offensive possession I do want to mention is number 2, Ty Kurtz. Just, they're so comfortable in those two-man games. Kurtz setting a great pick for Ward is able to kind of like get his defender out of position, and then Ward is able to attack it. That's what you see from really good offenses, like guys doing the little things to help free up their teammates.
Delaware takes a timeout. They'll keep the possession, and the shot clock is pretty much off here. They keep it on toward the end of the half because of penalty situations and such, but shot clock's not going to matter. They can hold for 1 here at the end of the half with a 5-goal lead. And, if you're Ben DeLuca, offensively, like this is what is probably when you think your team is at its best. That's what they've looked like here today.
Yeah.
Like best case scenario for, especially offensively for Delaware. That's what we're getting.
Right. It's Ward and it's Robinson, obviously, and then you have your complementary guys. Kurtz. I wouldn't even say Kurtz is a complementary guy. He's, an incredible player in his own right. But yeah, I mean, scoring from different angles. The lefties are certainly clicking, and you have the chance here just with the ball and an opportunity to go into halftime with, either a 5 or 6 goal lead if you play this smart, right? There's 52 seconds left on the game clock. I would look for them to initiate somewhere between probably the 15 to 20 second range, that way that gives you enough time to get a couple passes in, but you want the ball to finish the quarter in this end of the field.
Yeah, I mean, you look at this attack unit, Ward, Kurtz, and Robinson. They've got all 8 goals.
Yeah.
I mean, they've just been like, they have 7 of the 8. Oh, and Grant has the other one. But,
yeah.
I mean, you put in Ward for Charlie Kitchen, and Charlie Kitchen was an incredible ex-attackman, had a little bit more size than J.P. Ward with the 6'5" frame that Kitchen had, now playing for the Albany NLL team. But
yeah.
You sub in Ward, and you still have Kurtz and Robinson, who are part of one of the most productive attack units in the entire country, and Ward is subbed in and kind of just filled that void.
Yep, and Coach Vogel was pretty adamant about those guys, knowing that they're going to need to stop them to win. And, it's one thing to know it and scout it and prepare for it, but it's a whole nother ballgame when you're out there in person and those guys are certainly showing why they are, one of the best trios in the country tonight.
They continue to hold. 25 seconds to go in the half. It's Clay Miller, the midfielder, with it. Now they'll start to go just under 20. Robinson, Linkaitis. Back to Robinson. He's got confidence from anywhere across midfield.
He thought about it.
Kurtz, stick deflected. 6 seconds left. And we have a whistle. They'll make J.P. Ward take it back to the end line. 5 seconds. Ward, pass in front. Robinson caught it. Can't get the shot off. Oh, my goodness. Oh, wow. That's a killer.
I don't know if I love that call.
Yeah, I mean, Jack Farrell, as time expired, just had the feet tangled up with Mike Robinson, and it draws him a flag, and you could see his reaction, obviously disappointed. Yeah. And so we will get to that penalty when we come back. It's halftime here in Philadelphia, and it is all Delaware. What a one-man show from J.P. Ward. He has a pair. Blue Hens up by 5 at the break on LSN. Back here from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, the CAA Men's Lacrosse Championship on LSN. The first of 2 semifinals here on Thursday evening in Delaware. Up 8-3. We'll have a man up to start this second half. And we have a new goalie in goal for Drexel. They go to Drew McGill, the redshirt freshman out of Alabama, played year at the Hill Academy after spending some time at IMG Academy. So obviously a guy who has played some terrific talent throughout his high school career, a guy who has plenty of experience here this season in college. Has come in a couple of different times for Ross Blumenthal, and he comes in here in the second half with his team trailing by 5.
Yeah, that's awesome. Shout out to Alabama. Any high school lacrosse players out there hopefully watching, tuned in. But yeah, I didn't love the flag by the officials before halftime. I thought that was an inadvertent whistle, but you know, you got to play the cards you're dealt. So we'll see if Drexel can get a stop here with the new goalie in cage.
It was a late trip as time expired there that put Jack Farrell in the box to start this second half. Certainly was inadvertent, but it earns Drexel the penalty. 19 seconds left on this man up for Delaware.
Robinson with his hands free. Rare you see those miss the cage.
Already 4 goals today for Mike Robinson, the junior out of Peterborough. Down on the doorstep, Ward had it eaten up by Udovich. Deflected on its way to McGill, and so now down to 6 seconds on the shot clock. 5. They'll put one on cage, Kurtz does. It's saved by McGill, which means it resets the shot clock. Delaware backs it up.
Yeah, you kind of saw his reaction there. It was like, for a second, like, yes, I made the save, and then it's like, oh no, they get the ball back. So I guess get your confidence going, get it, you know, get your feet wet a little bit, but you're probably going to have to make another one here to finish out this possession.
So we're back to even strength, but now you get a fresh shot clock for Delaware. Beta back to Robinson, fakes.
Oh.
Robinson all the way in, blocked by McGill.
Wow. He's in the crease too, big save.
Wow, that is just huge.
Robinson faked me off the screen there for a minute.
I mean, Robinson was walking his way in all alone for number 5 on the day, and McGill got a piece with the end of his stick.
Maybe like too many fakes there by Robinson. I thought he could have just maybe pulled up and shot after the first one, but credit to McGill. Again, big body, keeping his balance and holding his composure there in cage. 2 saves on that first possession. You know, maybe giving some life to this Dragons team.
There's Waller. Round goal line extended, comes back out toward the top. He's got the short stick matchup on him. Now Mulcahy. Genord on the near side wing. Falling down, bounce shot. Stopped by Kilkiri, now collected by Tate Wasson.
Got numbers.
Blue Hens in transition. Looking to see if they've got anything here in the early offense. They do. It's Aiden Fritz, the short stick team, Minnie with the second goal of the season.
And this was a really, really pretty give and go. I think it was Fritz that brought it down and threw it through X, and he kind of like took a couple steps to the middle of the field and then was able to flash back and receive the pass. Kind of cuts the middle and then cuts behind his defenseman's head. He's able to catch and score, and then obviously when a D-mid scores, baby, we got to get hype. You know he's going to be fist pumping. Big goal in transition for the Blue Hens.
Fritz, the sophomore with no goals coming into this year, scored his first goal of his career in the season opener this year against NJIT. Well, now he's got a postseason goal as well. And so the scoring for the Blue Hens, you have 7 goals from the attack unit, and then a long pole goal and a short stick D-midi goal. Just how they figured that this one was going to go.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, where are the middies at? Come on. Need to balance the scoring sheet out for Delaware.
Gotta represent here. Here's Clay Miller. He's one of the starting midfielders today. Instead, Kurtz from long range is just high. Back to Drew McGill here for a second. His last game he played in actually was the first game against Delaware here at Vitas Field. Played in 47 minutes, made 10 saves, gave up 11 goals. He has not played in the last couple here for Drexel, as it's been all Blumenthal.
Yeah. And we'll see if he can just continue to settle in and make the saves he needs to make.
Feed in front, flag is down. Linkaitis was trying to squeeze in there, and Drexel's going to go man down again.
Yeah, definitely not the start that they wanted defensively, just having to kill off a couple penalties here.
Brennan Greenwald, the senior out of Newport Beach, California, called for a cross-check. 1 minute penalty again. So for the second time already in the first 4 minutes of this third quarter, Delaware man up for a minute. First time weren't able to cash in. Here they find to the side of the cage.
Yeah, nice look on the back pipe feed, but just not able to convert. I think that shot might have hit the back of the net.
That was George Grippo, the D-midi, who went just speed on everybody, showcasing the wheels.
The old punt return clear, especially when you're man down and you have one less guy. You just got to give it to that short stick and tell him to run by everybody. Little hidden ball trick here for Drexel. Who's got it?
Delaware unfazed. So they'll try to kill off the last couple of seconds of this man down, and now we are back to even strength as Mulcahy comes back on the field.
Yeah, you see Mulcahy, when Delaware's been man-to-man, Grant has kind of just blanketed him.
They tried to find him.
Yeah, Delaware in the zone, they were trying, it looked like they kind of like tried to sneak him onto the field and then cut him in front of the crease, but just a tough turnover.
Kind of get the feeling Drexel needs to find some other ways to score. Like,
yeah.
Create some transition, get some early offense, turnover, something, because in this settled set, whether it's their shooting being off or Delaware's defense or some of the unforced errors, it just hasn't been clicking.
Delaware just seems like they're just a little bit more on their toes, like they're just sliding a little bit quicker. You know, they're obviously mixing up defenses, which is tough. As an offense, it doesn't really allow you to get into a flow. So I'm with you, Travis. I agree. Try to find different ways to score. You might have to just push the tempo a little bit. Awesome take.
I mean, individual effort galore. Ty Kurtz has his second today. He saw his other attack mates. They've got multiple goals, so he says, I want a couple.
And you see Delaware's offense, right, initiating up top and just sharp passing to get the ball through X. And you saw that the Drexel short stick defender had to recover all the way out through the crease. And then, you know, Kurtz, the Canadian, on that isolation, he's just going to get to his strength every time. And those guys are no strangers to crease diving. Obviously, you're the crease dive being new to field lacrosse. You've been able to do that for ages in box. And Kurtz with a nice crease dive finish.
Oh, and there, Liam Rosado tried to do a little too much. He had an opening, but pass a little off. So another turnover, despite the fact that Drexel won that faceoff.
Yeah, and like, again, just like those are the plays you got to make. I feel like if he catches that pass, he can like walk it in for a layup, but just not able to really get it clicking tonight.
So another Delaware possession. Cam Accioni comes on. Second midfield of Accioni, and Konvinsky on there for the Blue Hens.
A lot of vowels.
Here's Konvinsky. Spins, gets the hand free, it's wide.
And you could tell Delaware just playing with some mojo and playing fast, guys attacking their matchups, moving off ball.
Great
That's too easy.
look. And there is the first goal of the season for, excuse me, ninth goal of the season for Cam Accioni. The Accioni twins got me. I thought it was 25, it was 45. My mistake. Cam's got his ninth of the year on a great feed here from Ward.
I think mom and dad will forgive you, but just a little bit too easy there. Not sure what happened on the off-ball defense, but Delaware rolling.
And that feed from J.P. Ward, stuff we saw that Charlie Kitchen did throughout his last couple of seasons there with Delaware. He was that ex-attackman guy that really made the rest of the offense click when you got Kurtz and Robinson, who can shoot with some of the best in the country. And then you've got Kitchen, who can set it all up. It was the perfect recipe, and we've seen Ward at times this year be that guy, and when he's that guy, this offense is just clicking.
Yeah, definitely a balanced player. I like the way that Ward plays with his stick up by his ear. That's why I kind of mentioned Logan Wisnauskas earlier in the broadcast as kind of like a comparative player for those of you that watch a lot of college lacrosse at home. But, like, in my opinion, I think the best players play with their stick up like that. Like, I don't think Ward was expecting a guy to be wide open on the crease, but he's got his stick up and he's ready to make the feed, kind of a telltale sign of a really good quarterback ex-attackman.
Linkaitis dodges and scores. There's the midfield goal. Back-to-back from this midfield unit, and it is all Blue Hens here in this first semifinal. They've now scored 5 in a row. They've got a 12-3 lead. Try to punch their ticket for the CAA championship on Saturday. To ask Delaware coach Ben DeLuca going into this game, what would be your best case scenario? He may have said this. I mean, this offense is clicking for the Blue Hens. They've got a 12-3 lead with 7:16 to go in the third quarter. Travis Eldridge, Marcus Holman back with you. Marcus, this has been impressive.
Yeah, just clicking on all cylinders. You've got goals in transition. You've got goals on man up. You've got your face-off unit excelling, and you've obviously got one of the best trios at attack in the country, just doing what they do best and in complete control of this game right now, about halfway through the third.
Drexel trying some different options at the face-off X. That was Grant Isika who went early. Another Delaware possession.
And now it looks like Drexel may be slipping into a zone here. Again, at this point, you got to throw the kitchen sink out there, right? Any way to stop momentum or even just slow these guys down.
Yeah, doesn't matter. I mean, that shot is just unbelievable. Ty Kurtz, he's got 3.
And that's one of the problems if you're not used to running that style of defense. It's, if you don't practice it often, you're going to be slow to rotate. And, when you give shooters like Ty Kurtz, a chance to pull it from the wing, that is just silky. Low to high, where mama hides the cookies, top shelf.
I mean, there between the one that Robinson had at the other end on the run and that one, I mean, there's almost nothing a goalie can do.
Yep.
Isika
face-off wins
a face-off, so 1 for 2 for him at the X.
Just feels like we haven't seen Drexel, honestly, on offense for a lot of this game. Sometimes they've had a couple possessions, probably 2 or 3, that have just been one pass and turnover. So we'll see if they can extend and grind here.
Well, Mulcahy dodges through the defense. He keeps possession. Draws a double team, and now Grant comes to get him. Shot just wide there. Only goals today for Drexel. 1 from Genord, 1 from Stansfield, 1 from Augustine. Great check by Wasson. Spears keeps hounding Genord there behind. Genord finds a way to pick up the ground ball. 22 seconds left on the shot clock. Long-range shot from Semple is wide. Haven't even said his name. He leads the Dragons in scoring. He just hasn't touched the ball.
I was just about to say, he's been awfully quiet tonight, just getting touches and trying to get his hands free.
Shot. I think they called for a reset here.
Yeah.
So that's a break for Drexel.
Yep.
Augustine Semple, the redshirt freshman at Coquitlam, British Columbia. Member of the CAA all-rookie team. Just been hounded all day long. Mulcahy stopped by Kilkiri again.
And a nice, two offensive possessions from Drexel, able to get a couple shots off, but just not enough.
6th save of the day for Matt Kilkiri. He's given up just the 3 goals. And now with the long-range clearing pass that he nails.
Yep, again, that doesn't really show up in the stat sheet other than a team stat, which is a successful clear, but those are the micro plays that, there's 1,000 of them a game, and the teams that make more of them usually end up winning. And Delaware certainly right now is in control of just a lot of those little micro plays.
Kurtz, backhand flips it. Ward feeds in front to score.
Ready.
Number 2 for Cam Accioni. Tic-tac-toe for the Blue Hens.
Very, very similar to the first goal that he scored, which is just a hard righty cut. And him and Ward obviously have some pretty good chemistry. Ward catches this, has his eyes up, and kind of the art of the cut is a little bit lost these days in lacrosse. I feel like a lot of guys want to dodge and score, but, a well-timed cut, that goes back, centuries and decades of lacrosse. Nice work there by the Blue Hens.
An 11-goal Delaware lead. I mean, Mark, as you said it earlier, they've played only one game that wasn't decided by 1 goal here in conference play. That was last week. It was a 2-goal win over Fairfield. They haven't been up by this much in months.
Right. Probably since, honestly, looking at their schedule, either Marist, which was an 18-9 win, or the first game of the season against NJIT was a 19-9 final. So obviously they're no strangers to scoring, but
there's one. Man, did Drexel need that. Casey Waller with a bounce shot.
Of course, as we loud the offense of Delaware, Drexel is able to get on the board with their first of the second half. And, it's not pretty, but, you're able to step in here overhand and absolutely bury one high to low.
Casey Waller with his 11th of the year, had a couple of goals last week against UMass. Played a PG year at IMG Academy after going to Good Counsel High School for his high school career. But Delaware quickly off the face-off responds. J.P. Ward has himself a hat trick, so that entire starting attack unit for the Blue Hens now all has at least 3 goals.
Just a great individual effort here from Delaware to win the face-off, and then as a face-off guy, man, hit the point, get it to your attackmen, let them do what they're paid to do, and of course they execute with a great finish.
Logan Premtage is out here like, can I get an assist on that one, folks?
Well, that's the old hockey assist that, I think a lot of lacrosse experts and stat people have talked about keeping that as a stat, right? Because that's all his play, right? He scoops up the ground ball, he wins the face-off. The rest is easy. His name won't really show up in the stat sheet, but his teammates know. They know in the locker room, the coaches know, and they respect a guy like that can make those tough plays.
Yeah, you got to get Joe Keegan out here, tracking some secondary assists. Stansfield has it poked free. And they'll keep this one a loose ball push with Drexel. Tristan Plotz hasn't seen a lot of time today. He comes on the field. Semple.
Got an extra guy. You got an extra guy.
Broken stick. Waller trying to go 5-hole on the defender, and the loose ball is scooped up. Transition chance for Delaware. Quickly, Kurtz rings the crossbar.
Man, again, you look at the scoreboard, right, and just like, as a Delaware fan, you've got to love it. Every break has gone your way, right? A guy breaks his stick, has to run off the field. Your goalie makes a save, and then the guy running back on the field is able to just push the fast break and give your attack a chance to score. Luckily enough, Drexel able to get a stop there, but it really just to seem from the start that the momentum has favored Delaware.
Lankaitis drives in, shot deflected on its way to McGill. Mark Beta to trigger it in from the corner. Lankaitis kicks out. Robinson from long range.
18?
Yeah, I mean, there's, and like I said, anything over half field is probably within Michael Robinson's range.
Especially when he's got a couple already.
Yeah.
You know he's got the green light.
He's got that Steph Curry green light.
Yep.
It never goes off.
Yep.
A feed in front is deflected, and it comes into the stick of Kevin Lynch. A close defenseman looking for somebody to get it up to. He'd find somebody. Robinson feeds to the
nice
save by McGill. Steals one from Shivert.
We're getting a little crazy here. You sense the desperation, obviously, by Drexel trying to make plays in the middle of the field.
42 seconds to go in this third quarter. A 7-1 Blue Hens third quarter. Mulcahy trying to get that right hand free, just nothing there. Owen Grant looking to track it down. It's out of bounds off of Delaware.
Yeah, and you can kind of see just Mulcahy's body language, obviously frustrated with the overall performance of himself, I'm sure, and his teammates today, but I'm probably guessing just by my eye test not looking 100%. You know, and there's no way he wasn't going to play.
Right,
you know,
for sure.
If competitor and an athlete.
Yeah, I mean, if he's able to walk and handle a stick, he's finding a way on this field. But we've got another flag down on Drexel. It's been that kind of afternoon for the Dragons. Max Semple for a slash. So Delaware can hold on to this thing for the remaining 10 seconds of the third quarter and start the fourth on a man up.
Yeah. Probably imagine you're going to hold it, right? Get your first man up unit out there. And then I know this is crazy, Travis, but when as a head coach do you think about, you know, getting some of those starting attackmen out and, you know, maybe getting, you know, some other guys on the field, save some legs potentially for this CAA championship that Delaware seems to be headed to as we move into the fourth quarter.
Yeah, it has been a dream semifinal so far for Delaware. They had it all clicking in the third. They put 7 goals up in the third quarter, including a pair from Cam Accioni. It's 15-4 as we go to the fourth. Well, if you ask anybody that has watched this conference this year and you ask them to predict what they thought was going to happen in the semifinals, I can guarantee you they'd be lying if they thought this was going to happen. An 11-goal Delaware lead as we start the fourth, and they start on a man up. Travis Eldridge, Marcus Holman back with you. It has been all Blue Hens.
Yeah, I think even the most optimistic Delaware fan would have been like, yeah, I mean, maybe a 3 or 4 goal victory, but.
Oh, Robinson. There's number 5.
Man, he's been impressive to watch, just along with the rest of this Delaware attack unit. You know, and what makes a great lacrosse player is complementary moves, right? Robinson's such a threat to shoot that he uses this windup to get that defenseman to lunge out of position and then just able to bury it. We saw him make a move similar to that earlier where I thought, you know, I said he threw too many fakes. That time he just makes one fake and just absolutely buries it.
Another chance for Isika at the face-off X for Drexel, but it's Delaware off the wing that wins it. Now a loose ball on the sideline, and the breaks continue to go Delaware's way.
Yeah.
I will say, Marcus, that if you listen to the Lacrosse Now podcast, we were talking, Tom Eschen and I were talking about all the different conference tournaments, and I did say that I was curious which of these teams would show up, because the good teams, the good Delaware, the good Drexel, they can score with some of the best in the country. Well, the good Delaware showed up today.
Yeah, that is absolutely true. You know, and they're going to continue to roll here. They're going to stay aggressive, stay shooting.
Stopped by McGill. He's actually been pretty solid since coming in.
Yeah, probably close to 50%, I'd say.
He's got 4 saves. Is Delaware, just the little nifty play.
Yeah.
I should mention that was Mike Robbins who made that play. He also at times this year has played face-off wings as a starting attackman for Delaware.
Yeah, I was trying to work that into the broadcast somehow. He has 37 ground balls for this Delaware team, which is, I'm looking down the stat sheet, it's second on the team. The only guy that's in front of him is their face-off guy. So, like, again, you want to talk about a well-rounded player. Like, I love an attackman that will hustle and get ground balls and be more than just a goal scorer, you know? Like, be a lacrosse player first.
Kavinsky draws a flag, so a free possession for Ward, who just goes ahead and shoots it. I mean, you look at those ground ball numbers for Robinson, and, you know, it reminds me a little bit of Reed Bowering, who we saw, obviously, be a standout for Drexel offensively throughout his college career. And you look what he's doing in the NLL as a rookie now. I mean, he's just a ground ball machine as he comes out of the back door in the indoor game. And you'd have to think that Robinson is a guy whose game is certainly going to translate indoors as well.
Definitely. You can see, obviously, he's very one-handed, but, you know, as we've seen just kind of the lacrosse landscape evolve over the past, I would say, 10 years, you know, you don't really need two hands to be a great lacrosse player. Obviously, there's still players that have, you know, those outlets, but if your one hand is very dominant, then, you know, certainly you can be a great field player and you're going to be a great box player because you don't really need both hands when playing indoors.
Just at the last second, that was deflected by Colin Gakwa, the freshman defenseman out of Bishop Shanahan High School in the Philadelphia area.
Yeah, and I as Drexel completes the clear here, I honestly think if I'm Coach DeLuca, I'm giving these guys some rest on the offensive end. I think you know you've got a 12-goal cushion. They've done just about everything they've needed to do today. You know, maybe you can get in a senior or a guy that's worked really, really hard, give them, you know, more than just a minute or two playing time and give them almost a full quarter here.
I mean, look at this defense. They're putting bodies in front. They have just surrounded the navy blue jerseys all day long.
Yeah, I've been impressed with their slide timing and just kind of with their urgency to press the ball and get their sticks out and check guys. And then obviously eat shots like that.
Yeah, I think that was Reed Kurtz that ate it. As we have a flag down, another free possession for Delaware. By the way, Robinson now 1 goal from tying the CAA tournament record for goals in a game. Towson's Ben McCarty scored 6 back in 2013. Maybe Robinson can get one more hands-free opportunity.
Yeah, I would have guessed maybe a Ryan Drenner or maybe a Will Manny had that record intact.
Here's Kavinsky. Just killing off a bunch of time as we're about to get the penalty now. Yeah, you mentioned Ryan Drenner. We'll see his Tigers team coming up next against UMass.
Should have saved those name drops for the evening game.
Start right around 7 p.m. Eastern time. It'll depend on what time this game ends, but right now looking right around 7 o'clock Eastern for that second semifinal. We expect it to be entertaining, just like we thought this was going to be a very interesting game, and it has been one-sided. We just didn't see it coming. It was a one-goal game in the regular season. And credit to Delaware. They have come out raring to go. Another man-up opportunity for a top 10 man-up unit on the year.
Yeah.
Skip pass down low, and Ward has another. So J.P. Ward now has 4 goals and 4 assists for a game-high 8 points.
He has just done a little bit of everything today. I'm a huge fan of this kid's game. Again, out of the MIAA conference in Maryland, the McDonough School. Able to catch on the pipe. Easy finish, but sometimes those are tougher shots than you think. You got the defense collapsing on you, but able to take the extra step and score.
By the way, his 8 points now ties the points record for points in a game in a CAA tournament game. Ward now tied with Brendan Sunday, another Towson Tiger, and Kyle Smith from UMass. Both of them putting up 8 points in a tournament game. Brendan Sunday, part of that Towson team in 2019 that was red hot, won their way through the CAA tournament and hosted Maryland, lost in overtime in a dramatic first-round game. You almost got the feeling of that one that if Towson beats Maryland, they may have been going back to the Final Four.
Yeah. And then Kyle Smith, on the other hand, a UMass alum who will be coaching the offense tonight.
Yeah.
For the Minutemen.
Yeah, completely new staff now for UMass. First time that Greg Canella's had that in like forever, and he's been at UMass for a long time.
Yep.
If Drexel can get another back here.
Good defense.
Trying to pick it up there is Martin. Instead, it's Delaware picking it up, going the other way. Full head of steam. And they'll slow it down.
I was thinking about it. Is he going to take this low angle, low to high, and just walk to the sidelines and pull himself out of the game? But smart play. Delaware pretty much in stall mode here.
Well, I mean, they also had Owen Grant there, the defenseman who was streaking down. He's like, hey, give me one more look. I got one.
Right.
Let me get another.
Yeah, this is, it's that point in the game where the D-mids, the poles are all trying to get a touch and work on their shots on the offensive side of the field.
Kavinsky dodges, flips outside. Robinson, look out, off the crossbar. That close to number 6. So we're under 8 minutes to play, nearing the midway point of this fourth quarter. You just turned us on late. Maybe you're watching some of the other games going on. You have missed a lot of Delaware. They have been absolutely dominant from the beginning, and then used a 7-1 third quarter really to put the pedal down to the metal and cruise away from Drexel. Nice save there by Drew McGill.
Yeah, and I brought it up briefly maybe in the intro before the game, but you wonder just like, if Coach DeLuca really got into these guys about, carrying over from last season and their upset loss in the semifinals to Hofstra. Like, it seems like this team is really hungry to win this outright championship and earn a berth in the NCAA tournament. They've certainly played like that this afternoon.
That shot wide from Tristan Plotz. I mean, you look back at Delaware. This is their 4th straight trip to the CAA tournament, but they have not been to the CAA championship game since 2011. It's also their last time in the NCAAs.
Yeah.
11 years ago.
And then a year prior to that, in 2010, actually gave us a run for our money at North Carolina.
That one off the bar. Yeah, I mean, it's a Delaware program. They went to the Final Four back when our friend Evan Washburn was on campus back in 2007.
Curtis Dixon, notable alum, still playing in the NLL, an incredible lacrosse player, and just an excellent professional career. Alex Smith, face-off guy, and there's certainly a tradition of winning at Delaware, and like they played like that today.
Long range shot is just high there. I believe that was Demetrius Stevenson, the redshirt senior midfielder. Now have Peter Rippiger, the senior goalie, in net for Delaware. So getting a chance for some of the guys that maybe haven't gotten a whole lot of run, do a lot of other stuff for the program to get a chance to play on this stage. Very cool.
Yep. Oh my goodness.
Helmet comes off. That was Stevenson, the redshirt senior out of Dover, Delaware. Transfer from Rutgers.
Hey, mister, you got to wear a helmet. I'm sure this was, incidental, obviously. It didn't look cheap in any way, but glad to see everyone's okay on the field.
And it's a full-time serve because it was a cross-check to the head.
Yeah.
So 1 minute man up here for Delaware. This is just getting to the CAA championship is a huge step here for Delaware, and they are playing like and this is the team that we've seen in the regular season last couple of years. Saw at the beginning in 2020 before COVID, and we're seeing it again this year and now in the postseason. They have been dominant today. Timeout on the field will take it as well. A couple of minutes left as Delaware gets ready to punch its ticket to Saturday's championship. Back here in the CAA Men's Lacrosse Semifinals. Reminder, we also are your home for the CAA Women's Tournament as well. The 2022 CAA Women's Lacrosse Championship presented by Primus will also be held here at Drexel. 2 semifinal games coming your way tomorrow. A championship game on Sunday. Find out who will earn that trip to the NCAA tournament right here on Lax Sports Network. Towson and Delaware kicking us off. The first semifinal on the women's side tomorrow at 4. Hofstra versus Drexel at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Then the championship on Sunday at noon Eastern here on LSN. Our men's tournament here, the second semi between Towson and UMass, will be set for about 7 p.m. Eastern here from Drexel. Championship game coming your way 2 o'clock Eastern Time on Saturday, and Delaware's going to be headed there for the first time since 2011. Looking to punch that ticket to the CAA championship game. What a performance here in the semis.
Yeah, it's been all Blue Hens in the battle of fictional animals.
I mean, maybe we can find a blue hen somewhere. Probably
Maybe.
more realistic than a dragon.
I guess a Komodo dragon is a real thing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about you, but we've got these wild turkeys up in Boston that wreak havoc everywhere, and they have this like blue thing that comes out around their neck, so maybe that could be a blue hen type of thing.
Could be.
That's when they get really mad. Just trying to kill off, at this point, Drexel's just trying to kill off the rest of this man down. Is actually now we're back to even strength.
Yep.
Clay Miller. Skip pass out to Beta. Step down shot. Robinson's got the six-pack. There he is to tie the record.
And that's the sock trick. And I was about to say, go celebrate with your teammates on the sideline and earn that rest. Delaware just, again, this is kind of how they play it all day. Just making the one more pass. Oh.
Man.
Robinson just taping the corner. Enjoy the sideline.
Yeah. When he took that shot, Ben DeLuca said, "Okay, it's time."
Yeah. Yep.
We don't need any more of those. It's hot here in Philly too today, so let's get you all rested up and ready for Saturday.
And that's one, it's like save a couple for Saturday now, right? You want to keep a couple arrows in the quiver.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, 6 goals in the semi, but getting shut out in the championship doesn't help you. Delaware's possession advantage has just been enormous, especially in the second half. 16-8 advantage at the faceoff X.
Yeah. It seems like they've, those are the face-off numbers specifically, but I wonder what the possession differential here in time of possession. I'm sure it's heavily favored Delaware.
Especially with a couple of the early turnovers for Drexel in the second half. In the third quarter felt like Drexel barely had the ball.
Yeah.
That was the same thing Drexel experienced last week against UMass as Kavinsky snipes. Everybody getting in on the act.
Yeah. Yeah, and again, for Delaware, you want your second midfield line to gain some confidence moving into Saturday. I now think that's maybe their third or fourth goal as a unit. Accioni's had a couple. There's Kavinsky stepping in, and if their attack can score like they have been, and the second midfield can score, they're going to put up 14 to 16, 17 goals. Maybe even put up a 20 burger like they might today.
With that 19th goal today, Delaware has set a new single-game record for goals in a CAA tournament game, snapping what Towson did actually against Delaware back in 2019 when Towson scored 18 goals against them. As that one squeezes in, strong take. Ronnie Gunter, the sophomore midfielder.
And I was just about to kind of lead into, with Drexel, where do you go from here, right? I think you graduate a couple seniors at the midfield. For younger players, this is, a moment where this is going to fuel your off season. I think it's going to stay with you. You're going to remember it. Hopefully, as you're thinking about it's and training. In August. And then you have another shot, come back next year and be competitive in this conference. Where up until this point, it pretty much looked like anybody's conference. But today, certainly Delaware owning their number 1 seed in this tournament.
Oh, there's another Gunter back-to-back.
Might want to slide to him.
Yeah. It's a guy that's seen some run in a handful of games this year. He's got back-to-back goals here. And
again, there you go. For a kid like Ronnie, it's, coach, I got 2 runs. Granted, it's the end of the game, probably not against the first defense, but, this is, you're putting yourself on next year's depth chart. With plays like that, so kudos to Ronnie.
And remember, this is a Drexel team that before the season had a big loss in losing Luke Tomac, the sophomore midfielder, tore his ACL but he was a guy that was expected to be a major contributor. He was a big reason why they ended up winning the CAA championship last year. Had a huge semifinal. It was a really key piece down the stretch as just a freshman. He's a big midfielder out of Connecticut. So him coming back healthy for Drexel obviously will be a boost. They, depending on the senior status of certain guys, with the COVID year, it's difficult to figure out who's coming back, who's not. Even the coaches don't know.
Right.
But we will see what this Drexel team looks like. But we think we know Sean Donnelly should be back, as should Max Semple, having a nice redshirt freshman year. Midfielders, they'll have some pieces back. So Drexel team will look to build off of what they'll certainly look at as a disappointing end to an otherwise pretty solid season.
Yep. And then on the other hand, it's Delaware gaining huge momentum going into this championship weekend for the CAA. They'll sit back tonight and watch UMass Towson get after each other. I can't imagine it would be a 15-goal spread in that game, but again, you never know. But kudos to Delaware on a really, really solid performance today.
Absolute domination from Delaware. They run away from Drexel in the second half, and for the first time since 2011, the Blue Hens will play for the CAA championship on Saturday. 19-6 your final. This attack unit just absolutely spectacular. Mike Robinson ties the record for goals at a CAA tournament game with 6. J.P. Ward ties the record for points in a CAA tournament game with 8. Ty Kurtz, don't forget about him. He went off for 3 and 1 for 4 as well.
Yeah,
and just the way in a big win.
Just all over solid. My first time personally seeing Delaware, start to finish in a game this year, other than a couple of clips here and there while preparing for this. But I like the speed, I like the aggressiveness, and again, kudos to Coach DeLuca and his staff for, what he's built over the past 6 years. I'm sure this was the vision he had, kind of for his team, and they executed today in all facets.
Tell you what, this was a Delaware team that needed to win last week. They were the final game of the CAA regular season, had to win against Fairfield. They trailed early. If they lost that game, they weren't going to be in this tournament. Well, they came from behind, they won, held on against Fairfield, and now they are a win away from heading to the NCAA tournament for the first time since 2011. So that will do it for us here from Philly. We'll be back in about an hour, 7 p.m. Eastern time, for the second semifinal between Towson and UMass. But for now, we say so long. Once again, your final score, Delaware 19, Drexel 6. They're headed to the CAA championship game. For Marcus Oman and the rest of our crew, I'm Travis Eldridge saying so long from Philadelphia. We'll see you in a bit.